What's poppin', people? It's Dante. Let's cross the bridge to Terabithia together. Let's teeter on the edge between order and chaos. And yeah, check it out. Walk the plank. Yeah, this is my little adventure walk of the day. And so yeah, today I'm thinking about fat and protein, two vital nutrients that the body needs to provide us with energy and to function properly. And so what's interesting is saturated fat has been demonized over the past couple of decades, where you think of the word fat equivalent to that of a bad word, right? You're fat, don't consume fat, you'll get fat. However, fat is stored energy within our bodies. And so when you frame fat this way, it completely transforms the way in which you think about nutrition. And so fat and protein being the most essential, right? And actually the word protein derives from of first importance, or being that of primary, right? These two like phrases or words, right? Primary importance, right? Protein. And so first and foremost, protein should be the staple of our diets, of the foods in which we consume. Actually, during my Peace Corps service in Zambia, Africa, I had a really interesting experience. I arrived in the village and was greeted by my host father, Babwalia, a surrogate member of the Bemba tribe I was. And the initiation to the tribe was a goat presented to me hanging from a tree, and I was given a knife to slaughter this goat, and we feasted all week. And what was interesting, when we feasted together, the head of the house is presented with the organ meats. And organ meats being the most nutrient dense food in the world, right? Where you consume the liver, you consume the heart, you consume the different parts of the body that you can find within the organs of an animal, giving you this glycine, this collagen, this very vital source of protein that is most abundantly found in the human body. And so by consuming the organ meats, it's a sign of respect in certain cultures, which I found to be fascinating, right? Where the head of the house was always given the gizzard of the chicken, you know, the head of the house was always given the liver, the head of the house was given the organ meat, right? The head of the house ate the heart of the animal. And there's a reason for this, because the organ meat provides us with this abundance of nutrients. And I believe that when you focus on eating protein, the most critical thing that I've realized is the increase of protein intake in my diet, which is a 100% carnivore diet for 2 years now, is astonishing, right? The difference I feel in mental clarity and in energy and power and vigor and vitality, it's amazing. But the most critical thing I've realized is it's the satiety. It's the satiation that I fuel myself with, right? Where so I essentially fast all day, no breakfast, no lunch. And then at the end of the day, when I break my fast and I consume this fatty red meat, I'm essentially eating until I'm satiated. I'm eating until I feel full, and I go to bed. And I wake up the next morning filled with vitality and energy. Where the interesting thought about cholesterol I had was, it's also been demonized, right? Saturated fat has been demonized, cholesterol has been demonized, and I find it to be a strange thing, because when I consume fatty red meat and I consume cholesterol, the vitamin D is synthesizing within my cells because of this building block, cholesterol. And so with cholesterol deriving from the word steroid, we're ingesting and fueling our body with these natural steroids, these hormones that are produced naturally within our body, that being testosterone, are so critical. And so by increasing my cholesterol intake, I'm not only synthesizing the vitamin D within my cells, which is giving me this tan pigment on my skin, which I believe is a sign of health, which is a sign of vitality, I'm also balancing my hormones, providing my body with the testosterone it needs to feel good, to feel powerful, to feel both physically and mentally well. And so cholesterol is extremely important to increase within our diets. As much as it is demonized, I find it to be very critical. And so when it comes to food, nutrition, diet, health, fitness, all this kind of stuff, I think that the things that we consume, and more importantly, the things that we do not consume, should be spoken about more, where carbohydrates actually are not essential. You know, they're not needed within our diets, and sugar isn't necessarily something good for you, right? So you don't need sugar, you don't need carbs. All your body really needs, and everything that your body needs, can be found within red meat, whole food, animal-based protein products like meat, such as red meat, lamb, you know, beef, ground beef, steak. You know, you can go to Costco and purchase a lamb leg that's $5 per pound and put it in a slow cooker, have it waiting for you when you come home from work, and you have a meal cooked for you in 8 hours, right? You just set it from 9 to 5, you come home and you're good to go. And so I really do just want to share the good news, right? Where the more you increase your protein intake, the less dependent you are on eating so much food throughout the day, right? Where the standard American diet has programmed us since we were children to consume breakfast, lunch, dinner, you know, and even snacking in between. But when you're fasted, you have this very clear connection, between your gut and your mind. And I find that with a clean gut, with an empty belly, I have laser sharp focus throughout the day, where I have no brain fog. And essentially, if I'm digesting food throughout the day, I'm going to feel more sluggish, I'm going to feel like I need to sit down, or I'm going to begin yawning, or, you know, there's just a lot going on when you're digesting. So yeah, and the other thing is, with digestion and eating red meat, you're actually releasing the least amount of excrement or poop, what do you want to call it, possible the next day. Jeez. The scientific word for poop is and so yeah, I think that that's also interesting to consider, where fiber, if you eat fiber, you wind up shitting a lot of the good nutrients out the next day. You actually shit too much, but when you eat red meat, you shit just enough. And this, I think, is also important, and it also maybe increases our satiety because we're not releasing so much of those good nutrients. And so yeah, no fiber, no fruit, no vegetables, no starches, just red meat for 2 years. You know, get some good sleep, drink some water, black coffee, and yeah, you're pretty much good to go. It's like we've kind of adapted to these modern luxuries, these modern amenities, these modern foods, like whether it's ultra processed food or the notion of having 3 square meals a day. But really, you don't need it. Just start fasting, right? Try it out, you know, try to go 24 hours without eating. You know, fat is stored energy. If you have fat on your body, you're not going to die, right? You can fast. It's extremely healthy and good for you. And you'll lose fat off of your body as, you know, time goes on, and increase your muscle mass, which ultimately is the goal, right? Which will make you stronger, which will make you feel better, which will make you look and appear more beautiful, right? To lose fat and gain muscle, you know? Think of your body. Your body is comprised of meat, right? We are flesh. And so when we consume and eat flesh, we are fortifying the flesh on our bodies. And so yeah, maybe the moral of the story is flesh is the only real food. Increase your protein and fat intake and avoid all of the sugars and carbs. Just try it out. You know, if you're looking to increase your vitality, your strength, your vigor, just eat more meat, drink water, hydrate, and get good sleep. Yeah, it's super simple actually. I also eat eggs, and recently started even eating bacon. I think pork is fine too, but I mostly just eat red meat, you know. It's probably the best. And lamb. And yeah, the organ meats, I think there's a reason why these different cultures, you know, use it as a sign of respect, give it to the head of the house. You know, it is certainly a cultural thing, but also metabolically, it's going to give us the most nutrients possible. And I believe the collagen also helps repair our cells. It helps repair our wounds. You know, if you're feeling like you have stiff joints or you need to be repaired, yeah, maybe you should feast on organ meats, maybe you should feast on more flesh, and this will be our natural way of repairing our bodies. Also, the notion of restaurant is interesting, where the word restaurant derives from to restore. And I believe in 17th century France, the first restaurants were these places where you would go and purchase healing broths on the street, these cheap, affordable healing broths, such as bone broth, right? And bone broth is extremely good for us. And so when you consume bone broth, I think you can also increase the collagen intake. And so when you go throughout the city and you look around for a restaurant, the only true restaurant, I believe, are these Vietnamese pho restaurants where you can consume the bone broth, you can consume the organ meats, you can consume the beef and heal your gut and heal your body, heal your mind, heal your soul. And so, yeah, the only restaurants I consider in the city are these beef pho places or all-you-can-eat beef places. I think the best restaurant in the city of Philadelphia for carnivores, it's not Fogo de Chao, it's actually this place called Na Brasa, which is another Brazilian steakhouse. It's way better, they have better cuts of meat. Either that or the K-Pot Korean barbecue places, because you can sit down for 2 hours and eat as much meat as you can, and it's super fun. So yeah, just increase your protein, increase, butter, steak, eggs, eat that good fatty red meat, and you will be filled with vitality. Now let me go into my pavilion in the tree.